Hello everyone, this is VGTI, and I'm here to talk about Spec Ops The Line. Now, I need to preface this video with some things. First of all, if you haven't played this game, go play it. I wouldn't buy it, but go rent it from somewhere, something like GameFly or something, and just give it a try, because it's a really good game. You may not like it, you may hate it, but at least give it a try because it's actually a very good, unique game with a very, very good story. It may look like a Call of Duty clone on the outside, but that's intentional. Just go give it a try if you haven't played it yet. And don't watch this video if you haven't played it yet and you're planning on doing so, because there's major spoilers coming. I'm just going to talk freely about all of the things that happen in the game, as well as, the theory itself that I'm going to cover in this video is kind of a spoiler. So this whole video is just spoiler filled, and you definitely don't want this game spoiled for you if you are going to play it. So that's just a warning. Now, I had to be very careful with titling this video because, like I said, the theory is kind of a spoiler in and of itself. So I didn't want to say what the theory was in the title like I normally do. So I had to kind of work around that and think of a more abstract title, which is what you see now. The theory itself is pretty interesting, mainly because the lead writer for the game, Walt Williams, actually is the one who brought it up and discussed it. Normally this doesn't happen. Normally developers and writers for the games don't really acknowledge the crazy fan theories that people come up with. They just leave it all to mystery. And Walt, he talks about the theory and says that he actually personally believes in it, but the game is completely open to interpretation, so he's not saying that this theory is what's going on. He's just saying that it's what he believes is going on. So I should probably tell you guys what the theory is now, rather than have all this build up. At the very beginning of the game, like right fresh out of the start menu, when you hit new game, you are just taken immediately into the action as the protagonist, Martin Walker. And you are on a helicopter firing a mini turret at a bunch of other enemy helicopters, and you're flying through Dubai, and it's an in media res moment where it takes you in the middle of the story at the beginning of the story. So you're just doing this, and it kind of sets up what's going to happen later, because this part of the game only takes place for like a minute, and then a helicopter crashes into Martin's helicopter, and the screen goes black, and it goes back to the past to when this all started, and, how they got there. Things like that. So people think that, the theory is that the whole game takes place in Walker's personal mental hell, his own personal purgatory. So, this might sound weird, but there are some things that point towards that. As for whether I believe that's what's going on, I will get to that later. But you can probably see why I didn't title the video Spec Ops The Line Theories, Walker is in Purgatory, because that would just kind of defeat the purpose of, betraying the player's expectations, which is what this game is good at. You go into the game thinking it's a boring military shooter that's not going to lead it to anything interesting, but then it does. So titling the video that would just kind of defeat the purpose of people going into the game expecting it to be stereotypical and dumb and boring, and then having that rug pulled out from under them. That's one of the best things about this game, is that complete flip of expectations. But I digress. I easily geek about this game. So the theory goes that at the beginning of the game, when the helicopter crashes into Walker's helicopter, and the game goes back to the past when Walker and his men got to Dubai, people think that Walker died in that helicopter crash, and that the rest of the game is just him reliving the events of what happened, except now he's in his own personal hell or purgatory. It's basically saying that the rest of the game is either taking place inside Walker's mind, or it's just taking place in some supernatural land where Walker has to face what he's done and face his guilt. And there are some things about this theory that I like, but the thing is, a lot of these things can also be explained another way as well. Because you see, within the game, throughout the course of it, you see a lot of weird things in the background that probably shouldn't be happening. Things that seem very surreal and almost supernatural sometimes. Just to provide some examples, you see John Conrad's face on multiple billboards and posters and flags and things like that. And that's the guy that Walker and his squad are trying to find. He's just some U.S. colonel. He's not some famous celebrity, so you shouldn't be seeing his face on the sides of those things. And once you beat the game, it actually provides a lot of context for why Walker is seeing that. But then you got even weirder things like walking by a tree that looks full of life, and then when you look behind you, the tree is dead, or a bunch of mannequins teleporting around while you're trying to shoot at one of the soldiers. I mean, there's a lot of different things, and they can be explained one of two ways. Either the game takes place in hell or purgatory, or Walker is just nuts and he's hallucinating things, which could explain it just as well. It's up to you which one you want to believe or which is most interesting to you, but I'm going to talk mainly about the supernatural aspect of this theory since that's what it focuses on, and then I'll talk about the flip side here in a second. One of the big reasons why people think this whole purgatory theory could be true is because of something that Walker says much later into the game when you are doing that same helicopter sequence. You actually get to that same sequence later on in the game that you were doing at the very beginning of the game. And when you do it, Walker, he pauses for a moment and he's like, wait, this isn't right, we've done this before. He actually says that out loud to his squad mates, saying that he's having this weird sense of deja vu, like he's done this before. And a lot of people took this one of two ways. Either that was just a fun little breaking of the fourth wall Easter egg, that hey, you did this at the beginning of the game, so here, let's break the fourth wall and acknowledge it. Or it's implying that Walker has done this before and that now he's doing it again and that he should be dead and that he's reliving these events over and over again, which is kind of the basis of the idea for what purgatory is. Walker has done a lot of horrible things in Dubai by the time you get to that point, that helicopter sequence. He's done a lot of horrible things to the people of Dubai by then. The white phosphorus incident, taking out the water. I mean, there's just all sorts of things aside from all the people he's killing. And I see this as a way of Walker kind of dealing with his guilt. It's definitely not a good way to deal with it, but the game, over the course of the game, he has to acknowledge what he's doing wrong and why he is actually hurting the people of Dubai and not helping them. He's not doing a good thing, and the game serves as a way to teach him that, to teach him a hard lesson. And if this really is purgatory or hell, it's definitely working. So, what do you guys think? Do you guys think he's actually in purgatory or hell? Like I said, there's the flip side theory where Walker is actually just mentally insane, which would explain it perfectly as well, because he's seen a lot of really messed up stuff. Not to mention, something happened in Kabul when he was on a mission with John Conrad, but he won't talk about it. And that kind of adds to the speculation more of what exactly he's done. But if we discard the purgatory theory, and we actually go with the theory that Walker is just insane and hallucinating a bunch of stuff, that still doesn't fully explain why he made that comment about the helicopter sequence. But again, you could just explain that away by saying, oh, it's just the developers acknowledging that you did this before, and it's just a fun little way to break the fourth wall. It's entirely up to speculation and on what you believe. Now as for what I believe, because obviously I'm going to go one of two ways, right? I thought about it for a while, because it's easy to explain a lot of the purgatory stuff away by just saying that Walker is insane, because he obviously is. There's no denying that. He has a lot of mental problems, and he shuts it all away and acts like a normal person, acts like a so-called hero. But at the same time, there's something very interesting about the purgatory theory, especially with all the weird occurrences in the game, the things that the game does to you personally as the player, and some of the things that Walker sees. One of the things that I actually didn't mention was right after the helicopter crashes in the main game, not at the beginning, but when you actually did the part again later in the game, right after the helicopter crashes, where Walker was supposedly supposed to die, he gets up, and he's in this hellish-looking wasteland of Dubai. Like, everything looks very nightmarish. The sky is red, everything's red pretty much. There's this giant tower in front of him that's glowing with fiery energy, and as he walks along this sandy path, there's like ghosts of the people that he's killed walking towards him and taunting him, saying things about the mistakes that he's made. And then he sees Adams over in the sand, or I think it was Lugo, just drowning in the sand, and there's a bunch of other bodies that are burnt and soulless looking, and it's just a very, very weird, surreal part of the game. And it's very hellish looking, like I said. And conspicuously enough, that part happens right after the helicopter crash. So it just makes you wonder. But I thought about it, and I personally like the purgatory theory better than I do just the insane one. Yeah, the insane one is more realistic, but I mean, as far as this game goes, I think the purgatory theory is pretty interesting. But I keep acting like those two theories are really the only two theories that make up this game, but that's not really true. You could theorize a lot more about what's going on in this game's story, and I might have a video or two on it later on, but for right now, I believe in the purgatory theory. Another strong point to argue for the purgatory theory is how during the course of the game you're always descending down deeper, farther into Dubai, and then at the start of like the next chapter you're suddenly up on the rooftops and you're not sure how you got that far up that quickly, and parts of the game where you're up on the rooftops, up in the sky and stuff, it looks very heavenly. And then, you descend farther down, and people take it symbolically as Walker going between heaven and hell and going to them, things like that. The symbolism is there, and it just adds more to the strength of the purgatory theory. Whether you believe it or not, that's entirely up to you. So I think that about does it, guys. Let me know what you thought of this video in the comments, what you think of this theory personally, and if you have anything you want me to talk about as far as Spec Ops The Line goes, let me know in the comments, or if you have any other video game theory you want me to discuss, just let me know and I'll see what I can do. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know I said I was going to work on Kingdom Hearts Explanations Part 3, but I ended up buying Spec Ops The Line because I missed the game and I wanted to play it again, and it led me to think, oh hey, I should do a theory video on this game, it would be perfect. So the Kingdom Hearts video is on its way. I'm in the middle of working on it right now, actually, or I was in the middle before I stopped and started working on this video. So the Kingdom Hearts video will come soon, so keep an eye out for it. Anyways guys, if you like the video, then like it, subscribe to my channel for even more video game theory videos. Give it the support it needs. It needs your love. And I will see you guys in the next video. Stay cool.